Hey guys, I'm here making another video talking about random stuff of basically what I am looking into right now. So I'm currently looking at the stock market and saying, even though a bunch of items, a bunch of companies have already run up, there's still buying opportunity in this market. Now, the stocks that I'm looking at right now is Nvidia, Google, SoFi. Those three, I think I'm looking into the most. Now, this is not a quick get rich quick scheme. I'm pretty sure by the time you see this video, they might be going down from their current prices. The prices I'm looking at was 22 on SoFi, Nvidia 180, Google 200. I think if you're looking at these companies in the future, I think they're very good buys. Google is only up 5% year to date, so since the start of January it's only up 5%. But in actuality, in since April, I think it's like 50%. I think it's up, or 40%. I think 40%. The thing is that these companies, man, they have shown that they are so profitable that they are worth these prices. They're undervalued, and people are saying, "Oh, the stock market went up so much." No, it has not gone up enough. For some of these companies, obviously. I think AI, from my last video, is not profitable. I think that one's just dump it. Obviously you can stick with it. It's at 1658. I haven't made a video in a while. Hopefully, not too many people watch my channel, so it doesn't really matter. But just to say, I can't predict everything. AI went from 30 to 16, so basically 50% drop. That looks looks like a very nice price, but the underlying truth, when you take off the makeup and everything, you realize that this company is not profitable. They look like a clown show right now. They don't know who their next CEO is. Their CEO said, "I'm out." They're still in debt. They're not really making too much profit. And then you look at SoFi. SoFi is still only $22, $23. The company just went profitable, and they don't look like they're slowing down. Very young, up and coming company. Another stock I'm looking at, Nvidia, they just closed a deal with the US government of making sure that every single sale they do, basically by the end of the year, let's say they do $25 billion, 3.5 billion goes to the US. Now that seems like a lot of money that's lost, but if you get rid of those tariffs, you make so much more money than you would have expected if you're Nvidia or AMD. And Intel looks like they're next to close a deal with the US. So it only makes sense that from here you're gonna see Nvidia run up to 200. Intel, it would make sense that they run up to what, $30. You can go to Intel, but in my opinion, you're gonna see Nvidia hit 200 before you see Intel hitting $50, $30, and it seems very promising, but I'll take my chances with Nvidia since they're number one. It's like in Pokemon. Would you rather buy Vivid Voltage, because it's gonna hit $500 or $1,000 in 10 years, but would you rather buy Evolving Skies, even though it's at $2,000. It might dip to 1,500 or 1,800, but you know in 5-10 years it'll be a $10,000 booster box. That's a similar vibe. You should go with NVIDIA and AMD or Intel. And if we're being honest, if it wasn't for NVIDIA, Intel would have not gone to Donald Trump and asked for a deal. Apple is also probably going to make a deal with the United States. I think as you know, as somebody who is investing, looking to make the most money, right now looks so promising if you're an investor. It gives you hope that these companies are going to keep being profitable, and you know, you can have your sides. Obviously, if you think the US is just being money hungry right now and this will lead to a crash, that's okay, that's understandable. But you also have to understand that these companies are so profitable compared to other companies that it's something we never seen before. And everybody loves AI. NVIDIA is the #1 AI chip manufacturer, and this is history. Could I see NVIDIA dip? Of course. It could go back to 150, but you know, at the end of the day, it will go to $200, $300. You know, this company is so strong. Google, if you're like NVIDIA's already run up, go to Google. They are the #1 streaming, the #1 media in the US. These are why I'm going after these big stocks. I'm not one of those that is looking for the next Apple. No, just buy these strong markets. Like, why would I buy weaker options when I don't know what can happen to these young up and coming? It's like me putting 100,000 on AI instead of putting 100,000 on Google, when I know Google is already profitable, already making numbers. Well, AI, I don't know what the hell they are doing as a company. That's what you gotta look at. The downside. The downside is the #1 enemy as an investor. That is what you need to look at. That is the #1 thing you must look at when you're investing. Even in Pokemon, you're looking at the downside. Would I rather park my money in Sword and Shield, where there's no more reprints, there is only sky's the limit to these booster box prices? Or would I rather buy into Scarlet and Violet, when there could be a reprint anytime moment and the price can dip back to 150, 120, you know? But let's move on. Oh, and the crypto market. I want to say this, guys. Crypto is back. After you saw it dip, we are back. Ethereum is so strong right now. I think next year we'll be seeing 5,000. I think Ethereum might take a little bit of a dip throughout the year. Maybe go back to 4,000, 3,800. Maybe it's just me just wanting to buy Ethereum. Maybe I just want to dip so I can buy it. But I'm into Solana. Solana and Ethereum are very similar. I think Solana is more limited into how many people can get. I'm not sure. I know both are kind of, there's a, or maybe no. Bitcoin is the one that's limited. Ethereum and Solana are unlimited. Solana and Ethereum, what is intriguing about them is that I think they're faster than Bitcoin. You know, to get it out. Like, I don't know what it is. I'm not really into too much of the crypto. For me, I'm more into stocks, because I don't know what, you know, influences crypto, but I am a fan of it. The reason being is that, you know, if you know, when you see that people are looking at these different things, I wasn't a fan of NFTs. NFTs I'm not a fan of. I'm like, this is so stupid. Why am I paying for something that's digital? Um, that's why I'm not really too much of a believer in crypto, but I do believe in, you know, when things you can actually know how it's limited. Actually, like the difference between NFTs, right? NFT, there were so many NFTs that this could have been an NFT. I take a picture of this, and this could have been an NFT. That's why I found NFT so stupid. Which is the same thing as crypto, if you really think about it. But then again, you already have established cryptos, and it paves the way. I still think if you believe in crypto, buy crypto. I have Solana. The reason being is that I believe more in the stock market than crypto. For me, I just believe in more. Because I know with crypto, with a click of a button, it can go to zero. You know, everybody sells, it goes to zero. That's why when I see people saying Donald Trump is gonna put Bitcoin or crypto into the 41Ks, like they can put your 41K into crypto, I don't like that, because once Billy Bob, when he reaches 90 years old, 80 years old, 70 years old, saying, all right, time to retire, time to take that Bitcoin out, you're gonna have a whole generation of taking out that Bitcoin, and it's gonna drop the price a whole lot. And the worst part is when you see that the government is finally taxing Bitcoin through a 41K, instead of, you know, just taxing on how much you actually profited off the Bitcoin. So let's say I bought Bitcoin at 100,000, but it only went up 150,000 and I took it out. Okay, guess what? If you put your 41K money into it, you decided, all right, I'm gonna put Bitcoin in my 41K, they're gonna tax you the full 150,000. So instead of just taxing you on that 50,000 you made, they're gonna tax you on 150,000. So as an investor, why would I put more money into Bitcoin when there's other cryptos that won't have this situation? Or maybe not even put it into that, just put it in the stock market where they're not gonna tax you on the exact price of the stock market price. You know, they're gonna tax you on how much you made off that stock. But enough of that. Let's just talk about Pokemon. So Pokemon right now is kind of in a situation where PSA is king. PSA, there's so much bullish as a PSA collector. When you think of the way PSA is now integrating with eBay, it shows that PSA is taking very serious this market. They are trying to make as much money off all their business, and it's so smart. Now this is why I don't really try to stay too attached to my Pokemon investing, because this is the issue that I feel some people have. I feel like they're too attached to their cards, which I completely understand. You know, but once those cards reach $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, I mean, don't you think it's time to just sell? You know, and put into something else? Like that's how you know, you should be thinking. I mean, well, you know what? Don't listen to me. But I just think this is why if. But this is why I think if you're an investor, well, not investor. If you are a collector, investor in Pokemon, yeah, investor in Pokemon, don't you think it's the smartest route is to grade as much as you can, sell whatever grade it is. You know, you can try to crack it, sure. You know, crack it, see if you can get a better grade, and then, you know, waste, not waste, wait 2 3 months for them to grade it again, put in a new slab, maybe it gets a better grade. Obviously, if you think it should get a better grade, crack it, regrade it, put go to Beckett, go to CGC, whatever you want. Because the issue with PSA is that, you know, a PSA 8 is technically near mint through mint, so that's how they get away with it. So, you know, sure, to you it's a PSA 10, but to them it is also a 10 technically, because PSA 8 means near mint to mint. So, you know, even though it could be a 9, PSA gives it an 8 just because they want to be safe about it. That's what I have an issue with. I feel PSA, especially if you are doing a lot of grading, they're gonna be like, okay, you notice it. You know, sometimes when you have a big order, it looks like, man, why are they being so harsh on these grades? Like, sure, you get a few winners, but you also get some few disaster picks. So some cards that you think are gonna get 10s get 8s. But, you know, I think instead of, you know, holding on to these cards that are 10s, especially if they're from a different era, you should sell. I think PSA is going to show some great signs in the future, especially since they're implementing that new $50 grading package, where if you pay for the $50, you know, it's like a 10-day turnaround, and then they just send it to auction. So, you know, you can't really put in a vault, you can't send it back home. It has to be an auction, and I think that's a very good thing to do, especially if, you know, you just want to make money, make profit. It's an awesome idea. And, you know, that's why I say PSA is king. You know, Beckett, yes, it's probably gonna have more value. The slabs are way better. They're gonna protect the card way better. They just look better. They have a more premium feel, but you're also paying a premium price. But PSA is right in the middle, where it's not cheap like CGC. It's not lower value like CGC, but it hits that sweet spot where they give you a membership just because it's super expensive, right? And you save money using the membership. Basically, on your first order, if you're, you know, grading a lot of cards, you basically make your money back. And you're just getting free magazines that give you free promos. You can even grade the magazine if you really want. So PSA is just giving you free money. While Beckett, they kind of charge you into this fantasy of getting a black label. But who's really buying that black label? This is why I'm one of those investors that once I reach profit, I'm just like, here, I want my gains. I don't care how much more it gains. I just want to make profit, and that's it. It's something that I just think you should do as an investor. If you are, you know, not in it for the long term, but if you're in it for the long term, well, I'm not saying I'm not in it for the long term, but if you're someone that's short on capital, right? It's better to take profit. It's better to take profits when you've doubled your money and put it into something that's cheaper on the uprise and just looks strong. Like it it makes sense. Like every era, you buy some things from every era, like from Pokemon. Let's say from Sword and Shield. Instead of buying, you know, well, you buy the Sword and Shield sets, booster boxes, right? You sell a few of them, keep the ones that you really like, and then you use that money to buy Scarlet and Violet when they're super cheap. And then once those gain, keep a few, sell them, and then you just buy more of the next era. That is the smartest thing you can do as an investor. And I think that is the sweet spot as an investor and collector. Because obviously I love keeping my cards. But at the same time, these are just cards at the end of the day. I don't want to be that guy, but this card is a lot cooler than the VMAX Rayquaza from Evolving Skies. I have my Evolving Skies Rayquaza in the PSA vault. I'm thinking about selling it. I mean, look at this Umbreon. Like, these trainer gallery cards, man, they're super cheap, super undervalued, and you're telling me these are only $100? Come on. And then this Greninja, right? I have the Greninja from Shattered Fables. It got a 10, and I'm thinking about selling this one, because honestly I think the other one's way better than this one. You know, and I'm thinking about selling this one for, you know, when it gets to 1,000. I'm just gonna sell it, because it makes no sense of keeping it when there's other ones that are super cheap. And when, you know, at the end of the day, they're still the same Pokemon. It's not like Pokemon is, you know, they're different. It's still the same Pokemon on the card. That's why I think people obsessing over higher prices. Oh, this card is $100 billion. Well, guess what? What if you just lose it? What if you just you know, just don't know where it is? What if you know, you just lost that? And that's what some people need to realize. And you know, that's why I'm very against someone who, you know, is very greedy, keeping all this stored up, because it doesn't even have to get lost. What if one day you have a whole closet of it, and you know, it's just open box, it's not, you know, in a sealed case, it just rips open? Guess what? You lost 20% of the value. You only have the packs, so now you have to sell at a loss. And man, that's gonna hit hard. You know, because at that point you're a hoarder. Obviously some people can do it. You know, if you're the next alpha investment Rudy, go ahead, do it. I am not the next Rudy alpha investment. Maybe you know, I do want to be like into his investment level, but I'm not one to be hoarding. I don't have the space to be hoarding. You know, I live with my parents. I got one closet and I put clothes in it. You know, I don't put booster boxes. You know, I gotta keep my collection to a minimum, because I just don't like the feel of having so much stuff. I would rather have the money in my account or in the stock market or in something else. You know, free of clutter. I don't like clutter. I can't put. But obviously, if I would want a booster box, I would keep it in Evolving Skies and a Fusion Strike booster boxes. Those boxes can easily reach $5,000 in 5 years. Both of them. Lost Origin as well. Silver Tempest, I can see that box going up. Man, Silver Tempest is so undervalued. You're telling me booster boxes go up with the price of the most valuable card, and the value is getting that card into a PSA 10. That is what makes the booster box valuable. If you're telling me the Lugia in a PSA 10 is almost $1,000, you're telling me the booster box only at $400 is the price? You're crazy. Silver Tempest is the most undervalued booster box. Buy Silver Tempest. That's it. That's all I got. Have a good day, guys. Buy Silver Tempest. Buy NVIDIA. Buy AMD. Buy Apple. Bye.